What's up everybody and welcome to another edition of AGR's Pop Culture Reviews. I don't know if you guys did, but I grew up watching the Conan films. Conan the Barbarian, Conan the Destroyer. They were really visionary films at the time. And then you had a spin-off version of something called Red Sonja. Now, I didn't know who she was at the time, and I remember she was played by Brigitte Nielsen, and I thought at the time the movie was pretty cool, even though it seemed like a watered-down version of Conan. I'm sure Arnold Schwarzenegger being in the film was hopefully to help boost the sales or to help boost the movie tickets. Nevertheless, I did think it was a really cool movie. Now, for whatever reason, and maybe it's because us Generation Xers are growing up, watching those films, there has been a resurgence in the popularity of Red Sonja. And in a couple of weeks, I'm actually going to be reviewing a lot of merchandise related to Red Sonja. But this one actually caught me by surprise. And I have to say, it was a lot more impressive than I thought it was going to be. And this is one of the benefits of having a review channel, is that sometimes you get sent things that you normally probably wouldn't have bought yourself. And when you get them, you're pleasantly surprised, which is freaking cool. And I have to admit, this is the first time I actually review a 1/6 scale figure from Executive Replicas and TB League. So, do they stand up with the rest of the 1/6 scale manufacturers? Well, we're about to find out. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Scars of the She-Devil 1/6 scale figure of Red Sonja. Let's take a closer look. Now, one of the things that I want to remark about this head sculpt almost immediately is how generic it looks, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm glad they left it a little more generic so that it isn't influenced by the movies, because most people remember Red Sonja from the comics, and I have to say, this is absolutely beautiful in terms of how they recreated this character from the comic books. I also like the fact that they really did a great job on her hair. It is the perfect tone of red. I also love the shade of blue that they used for her eyes, and her lipstick or makeup is perfect. Now, the attention to detail here is outstanding, and I know this is not a Hot Toys figure, but it will give Hot Toys a run for its money. It is unbelievably detailed, as a matter of fact. Just take a look at the armor there, how intricate it is. And I know it's plastic, but they did a really good job in making sure that it simulates metal. I especially like those little touches with the blood spatter all over her chest area or her breastplate. It looks freaking amazing, guys. The attention to detail also extends to her midsection. They did a fantastic job here, and this is what I was talking about with the Harley Quinn figure, about hiding seam lines. What they've done is essentially they've put a metal frame over a very lifelike and extremely organic rubber suit, and it works really well. The texture of this rubber suit really feels like skin. This is an amazing job, and Hot Toys really should take some cues from this figure. What they've also done too is they've added these kind of scars that simulate contusions very well, and the overall feel of it just looks very lifelike. I also got to give special consideration to her gloves here and the way they simulated leather. This is plastic obviously, but what they've done here to simulate worn leather is extraordinary, guys. And the level of detail here looks fantastic. These gloves almost feel, you can almost smell the leather coming off of them. This is a particularly interesting thing what they've done. I especially like the detail in the kind of like etching that you see on her gloves. It's just really fantastically done. Now, without a doubt, one of the most impressive things about this figure, in addition to the skin or the dermis, is definitely the musculature. They really emphasized it on her legs. I mean, just look at those quad muscles. It looks fantastic. And the fact that they're accented by blood spatters, which look very realistic, is amazing, guys. It really goes with the overall theme of this figure, and I have to say, I'm very impressed, especially in the way that the figure is so malleable and you can pose it in so many ways. Now, if you all know Red Sonja, you know that this woman is always packing heat, and she has a lot of accessories in terms of weapons. The first one being this small dagger that she has on her waist. First of all, the belt is fully functional. You do have to put the belt on her, which is fantastic. This dagger is incredibly detailed. I especially love the hilt, and it's functional. You can remove it from its sheath. It just looks really good, guys. The other thing that's really impressive about this figure is definitely in the sheath for her main sword. What they've done here is a really great job. The attention to detail, the shading, basically everything that they did to replicate what you see in the comics is here. I especially love the trim that you see, those kind of bandages around that sheath. Just says to me that they really took their time making sure that they got every detail right. Now, you guys know how I am about the stance of a figure. I think it really makes or breaks the figure because it either gives it a commanding presence or it doesn't. And here they've done a really excellent job with Red Sonja. Most importantly though, they simulated her boots so amazingly, just like they did the gloves. It looks like actual leather. I especially love the design. It looks a little more barbarian, and it looks fantastic. But most importantly, if you'll notice, the reason that you're able to pose it like that is because there are little pegs built into this actual base, and you can put it in multiple levels, and it is incredibly malleable, which is another great feature of this figure. Now, going back to the weapons, they are absolutely spectacular, guys, and you can see where the money went. This blade, Sonja's sword, is incredibly detailed, guys. It looks amazing, and it is not cheap. That is actual metal, and it is finished in a chrome polish. But most importantly, take a look at the edge of this sword, and really along the entire sword, it has got these little blood spatters which look amazing, and again, really goes with this entire motif. I absolutely love this aspect of this figure. And honestly, guys, if that wasn't badass enough for you, you also get this freaking enormous battle axe, which is incredibly detailed. I love the finish on this thing. Now, this is not exactly metal like the sword is, but nevertheless, it looks incredible. I especially like the detail of the blood spatter, and again, it really goes with this figure because she just hacked into this damn dragon. And we'll talk about the base in a minute. The attention to detail here is great. I especially like the flare at the end of the battle axe. This thing is just magnificent. Okay guys, here it is, and I gotta say that I would buy this figure just for this base alone. Take a look at how awesome this looks. The dragon itself is worth the price of admissions, guys. It is so detailed. It is so amazing. It's so incredibly sculpted. I mean, just take a look at the skin, the textures, the blood. The detail there is absolutely incredible, guys. I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. They really went all out, and it actually looks like one of the dragons from Game of Thrones. Looks amazing. That, coupled with the rocks and the little pegs that you can basically put the figure wherever you want, is amazing. And you also get a shield that is fully functional. I just have it there because I thought it looked pretty cool with the actual base, but you can put it on Sonja's arms. And speaking of Red Sonja's arms, rounding out the last bit of accessories is 8 additional hands for various poses. And for this figure, you can really do a lot in terms of posing it. They're absolutely magnificent, incredibly detailed. I mean, these things are just great. The quality of this figure, I have to say, rivals a DX Hot Toys, and I know I keep bringing that up, but if you remember the DX line, they're just a little bit extra crunchy, so to speak, in terms of the overall presentation, and here, guys, is definitely what you're getting. Now, here's the best thing about this figure, is you get Hot Toys quality at a lower price, because this only retails for $189 depending on where you buy it from, and that to me, guys, is incredible. This is a very impressive piece, and I consider it to be very high-end, and I can also categorize it as an instant Holy Grail piece because I know this thing is definitely going to sell out. Now, before I go, I just got to give a real special shout out to the folks over at Big Bad Toy Stores for sending this wonderful piece over for a review, and if you're interested in this and other collectibles, please visit www.bigbadtoystores.com. Alright everybody, so that's my official review of Scar of the She-Devil 1/6 scale figure of Red Sonja. As always, I thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next AGR's Pop Culture Reviews.